And right now, we're joined on the line by Ireland's first ever gymnastics world champion, Rhys McClenaghan. Good morning to you. How are you?
I'm very well. It's good to hear you say that.
Where's the gold medal?
Right here, sitting beside me.
All right.
Nice.
Have you been just wearing it around the house, looking at yourself in the mirror?
It's just been sitting on my bedside table just to remind myself when I wake up every morning that it's actually real.
When does it sink in, or has it yet?
I don't think it's quite sunk in yet, to be honest. I don't know when it will. Maybe it never will. Who knows? But I'm just so happy that it's done. It's like a huge relief that, first of all, that I was able to perform on that big stage. But then also just to finally, have that world title that I've dreamed about for so long. It feels like that's such a huge thing ticked off on my list.
We're on the outside and we're complete amateurs when it comes to this, but it feels like the thing that separates everybody at the end of these big tournaments that you're at isn't really technical ability. It seems like you're all very, very talented. You've all done a gazillion hours. You all know exactly what you're trying to do. It's that bit that you talked about there, delivering on the big stage, that separates the medalists each time that it happens. Is that where the relief comes from, that you finally did justice to all that hard work and those years of graft?
Yeah, very much so. All of that physical preparation is done in the months before the competition. So when you hit competition time, your arms shouldn't really be that fatigued at all. So it's not like, you're pushing through your marathon or you're pushing your body to the limits during the competition. You're actually just zoning in on your skills. And when you do that around a skill-based sport and nerves have a part to play, then they're going to affect those skills that you've actually got. So especially for an apparatus like the Pommel Horse, you'll see people falling all the time. It's very rare to get a Pommel Horse final. If there has ever been a Pommel Horse final with no falls in it, I'd love somebody to send it to me because it's just one of those apparatus, and luckily I was able to hold my own nerves there.
And why this time? What's different about what just happened this weekend that enabled you to reach that level of excellence and keep the nerves at bay, or feel the nerves and work with them?
So, I feel like I am able to do that, and I've always been able to do that, and that's due to kind of the mindset training that goes into my everyday practice. My coach and I do these practice competitions where we create high pressure situations. Sometimes Luke even gets a bunch of school kids in to watch my practice competitions just to add that bit of pressure. So it's something we do train for, and so this is my 5th World Championship, so it certainly doesn't come easy, but there's so many contributors to not having got that gold medal in the past. But it's just a relief to have it done now.
Rhys, am I right in saying that you mentioned your coach there, Luke Carson, and I know you've been working together for a long time, 8 years or so. You changed up your Pommel Horse routine at some point in the build-up. So, how crucial was that in terms of getting over the line and getting this gold medal?
Yeah, it's hugely crucial. It's just a perfect example of things not going well and learning from them, making a decision and making a call to change the routine for the better. And it was the tactic and the new skill that we put into the routine coming into this year to try and improve our execution score mostly. But that routine just didn't compete well. It's a strange skill, and I stayed on the Pommel Horse throughout all the competitions, but I just split my legs, and that was enough for the judges just to absolutely annihilate me on that execution score and take points off me. So we thought, that's what happened at the Commonwealth Games, where I got silver, even with that mistake, and then at the European Championships, I just missed out on that final because of an error. So we went back to the training hall, we reassessed, and we thought of a routine that could take home this gold medal, and it worked out.
That must be even more fulfilling in a way, that it's not just the physical thing that you've had to work out, it's the strategic element that you've delivered on as well.
Yeah, certainly. That's the beauty of gymnastics as well. It's finding individual skills that suits every gymnast individually. So the routine is comprised of 10 skills. So it's about selecting those skills very carefully, having a nice balance of difficulty, but then also executing them very well. And my routine now is full of those difficult skills, but also the very nice execution of them.
What difference does it make having had the setbacks that you've had over the last 18 months? Like how beneficial in the long run has that been to you? I know at the time they obviously don't feel like, oh great, yay, another day of learning where I'm really disappointed.
Yeah, they certainly don't. It feels like you're knocked down and then somebody's stomping on your head while you're down on the ground. If you lose competition after competition or have failure after failure, but because of that, it makes these successes so much sweeter. And I feel like that's why in my post competition interview, all I did was cry. I did not get one word out in that interview. I just cried because there was so much relief, and I know how hard it was to go back into that gym after those failures and be composed about it, learn from the mistakes, and inevitably put on a performance like I did in Liverpool.
Because you can't have been composed when when everything you've been working for a number of years and it does fall apart like that. You can't have been composed. You must have been in turmoil.
Yeah, I was composed for the most part, I must say, but obviously you train for hours on end and put in every day of my life is dedicated to gymnastics, and then when your one moment doesn't go to plan, of course that's going to have a negative effect on your mentality, but it's just you don't want it to overtake your mindset. You don't want it to be a mindset that sticks. You can be disappointed. I let myself be disappointed because I know that I flipped that disappointment into motivation, because I never want to feel that feeling again. So, for example, after the Olympics, I was like, yeah, damn right, I'm disappointed, but I'm going to turn this into motivation. And I did exactly that. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm on top of the world right now.
How much would you say, Rhys, your discipline is physical versus mental? Because that's something that struck me after your in your interview. I was thinking that's such a normal reaction and emotion to becoming a world champion, not being able to speak and being so emotional. Like, you're clearly in the physical shape to win a gold medal, but how much of it is on the mental side?
I would say that gymnastics, for me anyway, is 80% mental and 20% physical.
Right.
That's just a rough estimation that I've always had in my head. And yes, of course, you have to put in that physical grind. You got to go into the gym every day. You got to do that. But even to get there into the gym, to put in the effort, it's all up here. It's all in your minds, and that's where I feel like I thrive in this sport. When the shoulder gives up on me and I have to get surgery and push through rehab, or I have multiple wrist fractures, it's something you have to always push past mentally before you can get your body back to physical shape.
It strikes me, I saw Max Whitlock, the Team GB athlete, congratulating you and some lovely words he said about you afterwards, and he's got the three medals at that world level. He's the Olympic champion. People are talking about this rivalry kind of building up. I know you probably have a few years on him, which is an advantage to yourself, but is that something that you kind of look for in gymnastics? It's an individual sport, and yet to have these kind of rivalries and people that you look at to kind of target must be a positive thing.
Yeah, I think it is a positive thing, and I welcome it, to be honest. And I don't think it's done enough in gymnastics. You see the boxers, you see the MMA fighters. It's always those toe-to-toe press conferences, and that's what builds up the hype to the fight. And I want that to be the case in gymnastics too. I said after the first time I beat Max, the current Olympic champion, when I was 18, I said I'm coming for that world title next, Max, in my post-competition Instagram post, and I feel like that was the initiation of the rivalry, and it's something that does motivate me in training as well. And when I'm sitting on my bum in training, I think, oh, what's Max doing, or what's that Chinese guy doing in training that gets me off my bum and makes me work harder than ever. That's
what I want to see in Paris now. A face-off, a way and a face-off in terms of gymnastics. Like, speaking of the boxing reference, like you've referenced Katie Taylor as well as someone who's inspired you as well on the world stage. Yeah, of course. I mean, it's people seem surprised that I say Katie Taylor is one of my biggest inspirations in sport, and I can't for the life of me understand why. She's the greatest of all time in what she does, and has any Irish athletes been able to say that completely undisputed like Katie Taylor has? That to me is just remarkable, and to see an Irish athlete do that is very, very inspirational to me, and it shows to me that why can't I aim for that too?
What does that mean for you then over the next period of time? Like, I know, you're in the absolute sweet spot of greatness at the moment, and the Olympics is on your radar. How long can you be a full-time gymnast for? Is there an exterior life that you need to fall back into and kind of develop at the same time, so that gives you a little bit of comfort or escape from gymnastics, or is it purely in the gymnastics bubble at the moment? What's that like?
I mean, I love what I do, so it makes that hard work even more bearable. I want to go into the gym and push my body and mind to the limits, and maybe there is a time limit on that, but the guy that came third in the Pommel Horse final, he's 38. he's 38. That's crazy. He's the oldest world medalist ever, though, so that's a little bit of an exception. And I don't feel like I'll go to 38 years old in this sport, which is fine by me. But that just kind of shows the time frame. I could be doing this into my 30s, so that's a very exciting thing. So hopefully there's a lot more gold medals to come with that.
And is there a separate career plan? Do you find that you need to dedicate all of your brain space to thinking about and visualization and rest, or do you actually want to go and study and develop that other part of your life, so that these two things kind of coexist? What's your strategy and approach to that?
Yeah, well, I'm a qualified gymnastics coach now, so I'm trying to work my way up the qualifications and hopefully one day become a coach, maybe open up my own club. There's a lot of ambition outside of gymnastics. Well, outside of my actual gymnastics career, it's still pertaining to gymnastics, because I feel like it would almost be a wasted knowledge, of me being in this sport for all of my life and then just stopping it and moving on to something else and starting fresh. I would love to carry on that knowledge that I've gained throughout the years and pass it on to the younger generation, and help them become world champions and hopefully even beat my achievements.
Who took you first to a gymnastics club? What was the impetus behind that?
It was just my mum and dad. They took me to just a local leisure centre. It was a gymnastics club. They just had benches, that kind of school PE equipment in terms of gymnastics. And I just loved it straight away. Even the simplicity of, the small square trampoline that I could jump off onto a soft mat. That was awesome to me. That was so cool. And there was something that, I always say that I was doing gymnastics before I went to that gymnastics club. I was always bouncing on my own trampoline in my back garden, climbing trees, teaching myself how to do a backflip on the trampoline. So when I got that opportunity to go to those facilities, it was very nice.
And when did you start deciding that, okay, I'm going to just do nothing but this now for a while and get good at it, basically?
It was when I was 8. So for some reason, I remember this conversation very vividly with my mum. I had to leave gymnastics training very early, one evening to go to football practice. And, I love doing other sports. I love doing football. But I remember just saying, like, I just want to focus on gymnastics. I felt like there's guys in that gymnastics gym working hard, and I was leaving and going and playing football, and I just wanted to be in that gymnastics gym all the time and improving my skills.
Do you see yourself, you sound like someone who is, but like a student of other sports as well, Rhys? Like you're watching other sports people, like you mentioned Katie Taylor there, but whether it's boxers or golfers or footballers, like almost picking up little bits here and there and tidbits of information from people outside your own sport?
Yeah, certainly. I think my go-to is definitely boxing. All the amateur boxers and the professionals too. I love their mindset, and of course, as I said, 80% of my sport, I believe, is mindset. So, when I do look at those boxers and they genuinely believe that they're going to go to these fights and win, that's something that I feel like a lot of sports people might not do, and I feel like I can do that. I feel like I can handle the pressure of saying, I want to become world champion, and I go and do it. So, it might take that 5th world championships that I go to get it, but I'm going to make sure that I'm going to do it.
It's a real Irish thing, isn't it? That inhibition and not being willing to kind of put yourself out there and say, I'm going to be the best, because we're kind of naturally the opposite, maybe, as a nation. I know that's a generalised statement, but overall I think we are. So I think we attach ourselves to people like yourself and athletes who are so ultra confident on the world stage, like borderline cocky, and I mean that in a positive sense. Like it's so refreshing to see someone like that.
Yeah, and I understand it. I really do. I understand why people don't like to say, I want to do this and do that. But what I like when I do interviews is I just speak my mind. I speak what's motivating me to train. And when I say that, I want to become world champion, that I'm telling you that that's what motivates me every day to go into that gym and work harder than ever. And that's why this world championship medal is such a huge deal to me. But I think also a reason people don't state their goals is because they like to keep it foggy. So if they don't achieve that goal, then it's not such a big deal. And I feel like that's why I take my defeats so hard. And that's why after the Olympic Games final, when I fell, went into the room and kicked the door off the hinges. I was so angry because I knew that was my goal, to go there and have a podium finish, and it didn't happen. But as long as as I said, don't let that continue into my training and into other competitions, then it won't be a problem. It'll only motivate me more.
Well, now you've got the gold to back that up, and so that frees you from any burden of any of the past, and you do actually just look back at it as part of the motivation to get you to that first gold. It's 21 months to the Olympic Games in Paris. Have you got every single second of every day mapped out to that, or is there a little bit of time for that kind of calendaring just yet?
Yeah, well, we've got I'm going to have 2 weeks off, 1 or 2 weeks off here, and that's much needed. It's been a long year, a difficult year, and it's just one of those years where our competition season was just all year round. This is the first time that I'm not in competition mode. So I'm just going to enjoy living somewhat of a normal life, socialise with my friends a little bit more, and spend some family time as well. It'll be nice coming up to Christmas with, knowing I've got the job done this year, having done my greatest achievement ever, and live a bit of a normal life.
Is your diet ridiculous? Do you have to load the calories on, or do you have to keep them off? What? How do you balance your weight? How does that work?
It's more about energy, really. So I wouldn't really put on fat. I'd probably say I have about 8% body fat, and that's just because of the intensity of our training. That's the style of training that we do, where I would just burn off all of the calories. So my nutritionist is always wanting me to eat more carbohydrates, because they would fuel me for my sessions, and that's more of the aim behind my nutrition, is fueling my sessions and then recovering afterwards.
So how many calories a day would you be eating?
I couldn't give you an honest answer. I don't count calories.
Right.
I don't count protein or carbohydrates, because I feel like I would get too obsessed about it.
Okay.
I would get too involved in it and want to be I think it would affect my gymnastics maybe, so I let my nutritionist do all the counting, and she just recommends me big dietary requirements.
And is that like lots, eat lots and lots and lots? Is that, are you basically eating all day?
Pretty much. It's eat more than I think, or more than my stomach thinks as well. So I'm filling myself quite well in every meal, or I try to anyway.
Well, listen, congratulations. Enjoy whatever the downtime brings you over the next couple of weeks. And the whole country is now invested emotionally in gymnastics. Apart from your achievement of being our first ever gold medalist and our greatest ever gymnast, you've turned the whole country onto a sport which is kind of Katie Taylor-esque in its own way, Rhys.
Yeah, true. And it's always been one of my major goals in this sport, is just to promote it, to give young people the opportunity that I've had and the joy that I take from this sport. And I feel like this is it's a great opportunity to promote that.
Yeah, good stuff, Rhys. Thanks a million for joining us. Cheers.
Thanks so much.
It's world champion Rhys McClenaghan there with his gold medal on the breakfast table.